In this lesson, we are talking about expressing purpose. We have very specific structures to express purpose and answer questions about it. These structures are to, in order to, so as to, so that, and in case. Let's first talk about to. To is the most common way to express purpose. It is followed by a verb. For example, I went to university to learn more about marketing. They run to improve their health. She studied to pass the exam. He plays chess to calm down. Now let's talk about in order to and so as to. In order to and so as to work the same way than to. They are considered more formal. So, I went to university in order to learn about marketing. That's the same sentence as above, except we changed. Instead of to, we're using in order to. They run so as to improve their health. She studied in order to pass the exam. He plays chess so as to calm down. So, for informal situations like these 4 sentences above, we use to. But for formal situations, in order to, like these last 4 sentences, and so as to are better choices. There are, however, other uses for in order to and so as to. 1 before stative verbs, and 2 before the negative infinitive. So let's first talk about before stative verbs. It is recommended to use in order to and so as to before stative verbs. You should pay attention in order to understand everything. They left soon so as to be early for their meeting. Write this letter down in order to remember it later. Remember that verbs like be can be both action and stative verbs. In this situation, it is a stative verb. Remember that we are talking about expressing purpose, so this recommendation should only be used for that purpose. So you wouldn't say, I don't want in order to forget this experience. It is not a purpose, so it's incorrect. You would say, though, I don't want to forget this experience. Now let's talk about before the negative infinitive. We usually use in order to and so as to before a negative infinitive. Basically, this structure works to change the sentence into negative. An example: they left soon so as not to be late for their meeting. We stopped playing music in order not to bother our neighbors. Pay attention that not goes before to. Now let's talk about so that. So that is also used to talk about purpose. However, we use a very different structure. We need a complete sentence after it. We usually use a modal, for example, can or could, after it. Some examples include, I worked hard so that you can go to university in the future. They studied a lot so that they could pass the exam. We spoke very loud so that everyone could listen to us. Please pay attention. To, in order to, and so as to are followed by a verb. However, so that is followed by the subject, then comes the modal verb. Now let's talk about in case. If we prepare for a possible situation, we use the expression in case, followed by the present simple or the past simple. An example: you can take food in case you don't find a restaurant. We refer to the future, so we use the present simple. She made a copy of the document in case she needed to give it to her boss. We refer to the past, so we use the past simple. In case versus if. Sometimes we can change in case for if, but the meaning of the sentence will change slightly. For example, you can take my car in case it rains. You take the car whatever it happens for precaution. You can take my car if it rains. You take the car only if it is raining.